So ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor for me to welcome our distinguished guest, Ms. Becky L. Monroe, who currently serves as the Deputy Director of Strategic Initiatives and External Affairs. With a robust background encompassing key roles at the U.S. Department of Justice, the Leadership Conference on Civil Rights and Human Rights, and the Ohio State University College of Law, Ms. Monroe is a seasoned professional dedicated to combating hate and championing civil rights. Her extensive experience, including serving as a senior policy advisor for the White House Domestic Policy Council, showcases a deep commitment to advancing justice and equality. Please, ladies and gentlemen, join me in extending a warm welcome to Becky L. Monroe, a trailblazer in the realm of civil rights and a valuable contributor to our cause.
Thank you. That's perfect. It is such an honor to be here today, and I first want to recognize the Consul General and the Consul General's family, and thank you for hosting this event. And I really want to thank Pamela, both for the invitation today, but also for your groundbreaking work leading the Immigrant magazine. When I was learning more about the magazine, I read about your decision to start the magazine. It was a commitment to sort of recognizing both a shared immigrant experience and the importance of working across communities to build solidarity and combat hate. And so I'm incredibly grateful and honored. I also want to note before I start here that one of the things we recognize at the Civil Rights Department for the state and through California versus Hate is that if we are to truly address hate, we must combat anti-Blackness in our country. We recognize that when we are talking about combating any form of discrimination in this country, it must start with recognizing our responsibility and our obligation to combat anti-Blackness. And so again, I want to thank you all for being here and for that commitment. I'm going to quickly go through and I want to share a resource that we have that we believe will help people who are targeted for hate, but that we know depends on leaders like you. So the first thing I wanted to mention is we are the Civil Rights Department for the state of California, and we are incredibly proud to be enforcing civil rights across the board. One of the things we recognize is that hate crimes do not happen in a vacuum. They happen when we do not have effective enforcement of civil rights across the board, whether that's with employment, housing, public accommodations, and protecting people from hate, violence, and human trafficking. So I mention that because I want people to know that we get that when we're talking about combating hate, it is genuinely a commitment to combating hate and enforcing civil rights across all of these different areas of protected guidance. So move to the next one, please. I'm excited to introduce to you a resource line and network that we have established here in California. It is the first time in our state that we have a statewide resource line and network to support people who are targeted for hate. The next slide. Part of the goal here is to recognize that for many communities who are targeted for hate, the idea of going to law enforcement may not be one that they are comfortable with or that they feel safe with. So we want people to know if they are targeted for hate, thank you, that they have options. So the first goal is to help people identify what those options are. They may be able to go, if they want to go to law enforcement, we can help explain what that looks like. What will the process look like? In some cases, we've even helped people make that call because they're scared to do it on their own. For others, they do not want to go to law enforcement, but they want to know about their other options. Many times we're hearing from people who are targeted for hate and actually have underlying claims for other forms of discrimination. So for example, they may be calling and they have a civil claim for employment discrimination. We can help explain that process. And for other people, they don't want to go through the civil or criminal legal system, but they do want to get resources and support. So the second piece is connecting people with culturally competent resources and support. That's the part where we're continuing to expand our network. We work closely with our partners at the Department of Social Services. There's 180 grantees they have across the state. We work with our partners at 211 LA and the statewide network to connect with social services. And we're continuing to expand that work. So we encourage everyone, if you know of a resource that you think should be added to this network, we want to hear from you and we want to make sure that we make that happen. And finally, we want to improve how we respond to hate by recognizing that our data is insufficient and incomplete. We know that people are targeted for hate far more than they are reporting. So part of our goal is to make sure that people know if they report to us, we will make sure that that information is shared if they give us permission to do so, so that policymakers can make better decisions about combating hate. This is just to give some more background, and again, if anyone is interested in sharing this information, a huge part of our work relies on community-based organizations. So as Pamela mentioned, our work to be truly community-centered requires that we recognize we could be the best state agency, and we obviously strive to do that, but for many communities, they will never come to us because we are the government. But if they go to a community-based organization, it is our obligation to serve that organization so they in turn can serve that person. And we are happy to do that, and so we have online materials. You'll see if you go there, you can identify ways you can put your own organization's brand on our resources. We just want to get the word out. We want to make sure we're doing it effectively. If people report online, they can do so in 15 languages. If they call, we can serve people in over 240 languages. So we want to make sure that this is as accessible to people as possible, and we recognize that if someone trusts us to call, we have to make sure that we are serving them in a trauma-informed and culturally competent manner, and we continue to do that training ongoing to make sure that we do that effectively. And I wanted to make sure you have these resources. We'll make sure if anyone has additional questions about the information, we'll give it to you. But we wanted people to understand the process. We do have people who are care coordinators, meaning if you call and maybe you say, you know what, right now I just wanted to report, I'm not ready to move forward, but please stay in touch. We will assign someone to that matter so they can stay with you. When you are ready to report, we will be there for support. That means that we make a commitment through care coordination, not to just leave you with ideas, but to connect you with the resources that you need. And I just want to, the other thing we want to make sure people know, if they don't want to share their name, they don't have to, they can share whatever they're comfortable sharing, and we will not share that information unless they give us permission to do so. Here's some of the information we have. I'd encourage you, we have some posters and materials up front. We really want to get the word out. We recognize we have an obligation to do better, and that is part of our goal. And so with that, I also just wanted to mention we are so proud of our partnership with California Black Media. So I see my partner who's sitting kindly with my children, Regina Wilson, thank you. Regina's work is so critical. We were so proud to get a federal grant. We are one of the first states to get a grant called the Jabara Hire No Hate Act. And that funding enabled us to work with California Black Media to do better, to do more, to combat anti-Blackness, and to make sure that we are advancing justice across the state. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
A media person never misses an opportunity to ask questions.
Oh dear, okay.
As you know, we've had that conversation. Sometimes people don't understand what reporting means.
Right.
So if they report a hate, what happens is just, okay, I report it and then I sit. I just want us to talk about that a little bit because we actually had that situation and people need to know that action actually takes place. So please explain.
That's right. Thank you for that. So at the end of the day, our goal is to make sure we're serving the needs of the person who's targeted for hate. So if that person does simply want to report, that's fine. But often, if they want to report, we will get support. What does that look like? That may mean connecting people with civil legal services. It may mean following up and saying, you know, you have a claim here. Let me connect you with the people so that you can file that claim. Perhaps you need additional mental health services for yourself or someone in your family. We will connect you with that. So reporting means both letting us know this happens so that we can provide support. One of the things we owe communities who are targeted for hate is to explain, we can't simply say report. We need to show why it's worth it. And part of it is that we will provide resources and support. The other thing that's so incredibly inspiring about this work is that people report even when they are scared, even when they are concerned about their safety, And when I ask why, they do it because they want to help other people. They want to make sure the next person in their community does not have to confront what they did. So we do provide resources and support, and thank you for the question.
You're welcome, that's my job. Now, I just want you to know that this room would have been 3 times full if we had just put the community. These are leaders. So just know that everybody sitting here represents maybe 100 or more members of associations. So if we had to introduce, you'll hear, I'm president of such and such association, I'm president of that, I'm PR for this. So everyone sitting here is going to take the message. So that's why it's important that we break it down. So when they get asked, they are all ambassadors of our movement, of our campaign. So when somebody calls you and says, hey, I had this happen to my child in school, I had this happen to my friend, what do I do? If they can't reach me, we have cloned ourselves, basically. So thank you so much, Becky.